All right, the ancient teachings that were lost to the masses and are being brought back at this time. That's what we're going to talk about today. And we got to that subject because Kay, early on in her new book, The Weavings, this book, you can find it on Amazon. There's a link in the description below. And if you're doing QR codes, the code gets you there too. But anyway, early on in the book, in the premise, which is called How It All Began this time around, Kay talks about that. She talks about the teachings that were lost to the masses and are being brought back at this time. So I welcome everybody to another Catharsis Healing Talk. My name is Helmut. I am here with Lora and Lora, I guess. And of course, Kate. Hi, Kate. And the list of the teachings that Kay writes about that are being brought back is rather long. So we are going kind of one at a time, probably maybe two or three in one talk, and then we get to the next ones in the next talk, because I suspect Kay is going to go into great detail with each of them. I hope actually that she will. But before we start with those teachings, I have a question. And that is, when you say the ancient teachings that are being brought back, does that mean they have not been here? They are not here right now. They have not been here for a long time, and now they are being reanimated, redistributed?
Very good question. The wordings, the English wordings, that's our cliche. It was brought back, or is being brought back, and it does leave out an awful lot of information, or suggests different passageways for these teachings to have gone through history, and you don't know which is what. But the main to the main culture, to the majority of people on the planet, these teachings were just slowly lost, because they were taught to everybody. They were taught to all the different kinds of people. Who knows how far back when. It was talked about in the teachings that they were taught in Atlantis, and they were taught in Lemuria, and they were taught on the planets of some of the aliens that came and lived with us in Atlantis and Lemuria, and they taught these things. So these teachings have been around for quite a long time, if you follow that story. And through the course of history and the different ages and the different worlds that we've had, that Native people often talk about, these teachings have been lost to the majority of people because they just forgot them, or they had wars and they killed off all the elders and shamans and wise women and stuff like that, and they were just gone for a while, for millennia, for most people. And in our modern culture, you don't hear much of these teachings in our major religions. You might hear little kind of thin versions of some of these coming out of some of the organized, centralized religions. But no, the real guts of them have been held in secret societies, because the world has been in such chaos. And it's happened world after world that this chaos grew, and the corruption grew, and the forgetting keeps growing. And these teachings are now coming out because this is the end of this world. And where they have been hidden among tribal people all over the planet, or in secret groups, like little secret societies within, pretending to be within different religious groups like Sufis, maybe Tibetan Buddhists and stuff like that, that have held this knowledge very, very close to them at the threat of death. If you were to learn it and tell somebody you shouldn't have, or they found some of their paraphernalia, or you wrote something down. Nobody was supposed to write anything down because they didn't want to get found out. It's passed down mouth to ear, in extreme secrecy all over the planet. But now they're bringing it out, and with the what the ancient teachings say about this end of this world, that we have an extremely good chance. They're actually betting on the chance that we will succeed in getting through this bridge time and in birthing a whole new world that does not have all this corruption and does not have wars, doesn't want to have anything to do with things like war, but wants, freedom, and the kind of freedom that gives you, a free market, but also gives you free spirituality. It's free, open for everybody, anybody who wants it. And so that's what the elders have been saying since I started teaching, is that if somebody wants this knowledge, you teach them. You teach them as much as they want, much as they can hold. Not everybody could hold the whole volume of it, because this knowledge just goes on and on and on, and just it gets deeper and deeper and broader and wider and more fantastic. Never ends. The learning never ends. So that's the answer to that question.
All right. So they're just being brought out of their hiding places.
Extreme hiding. Extreme. Yeah. And they're still, in some places, still not very safe to let anybody know what you're really doing and thinking and participating in. But it is safe for most people. And my teacher said, write it down, teach it every which way that you know how and you can. When they were telling me that was back in like 1987. So we didn't have videos like this. We dreamed of this kind of a venue that would probably show up someday. But that's what they meant, in front of audiences and groups you have at home, or individuals, or private classes, or however you can get it out. So I didn't think I could succeed at writing the books about them and their teachings, but you just gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And so that's the Reluctant Shaman, Sacred Link, and now the Weavings. And the Weavings, Helmut showed this already. This book is very different. The first two are more autobiographical and like an adventure, written in a more popular style. And this comes straight from the Spirit's teachings. It's not channeled. I learned what real channeling was in my studies with the elders. then it's not channeling, but it's paying attention to the spirits, listening to them, feeling what they are trying to convey, going on the journeys with them that they want to take you on, stuff like that. And put that into words. That's what they said. Just observe everything, feel everything, and write it down just the way it's pictured and felt around you. So, like Helmut said, in that premise, on page 5, it starts with these, the bullet points. It goes on and on. I'm going to read them to you. So
before you get into those, honey,
okay.
And I wouldn't read all of them. Those are so many that's too confusing. Let's just go one at a time. That'd be my suggestion. Anyway, for those of us joining us live, thanks for being here. If you have any questions, comments, or just want to say hi, please put that in the chat. And anybody listening to this video later, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel. Turn notification on, share, comment, like, all this kind of good stuff to help us out. All right. And what do you want to do, Kate?
Well, I was going to quickly just read them without any comment on any one of them, so that they had an idea of the kind of things that are in this. This is an extremely partial list. It's just the most the things you run into the first when you're studying these things. And they're not in any particular order, really, except for the first couple ones. But I thought in reading it that people would have an idea of what kind of intriguing things lie ahead. And instead of being confusing for them, my feeling was, my hope would be it would be enticing. So this is the things that are lost, have been lost to us. And this used to be stuff that the common people knew, just your everyday people. This was common knowledge. This was the kind of teachings you start teaching your kids in the home from the time that they're starting to learn language. And you get them to, listen to the stories, repeat some of the words, and they just keep learning more and more and more about all these different ways of thinking. Now, this is describing a way of living that used to be here on this planet and is on other planets by advanced civilizations. It's not a religion. Has nothing to do with a religion. Has nothing to do with being centralized. These are the things that you learn for yourself. So the first one is to know yourself, your song, in all its multidimensional wholeness and its sacredness. To know the sacred feeling of your song. To experience the full range of your attention, understanding that it encompasses all of your feelings, both physical and spiritual, and all of your emotions, and lastly, your mind. Your attention is not just your mind alone or your thoughts. To understand the sacred power of our attention and use it appropriately and wisely to free your sacred life energy. Feel it, let it heal you, and use it for good. To know and practice our sacred alteration of our past and our future. To live in the sacredness of gratitude and forgiveness. To stop the war inside yourself. To free yourself, your mind, your body, feelings, emotions, and spirit from the lies and the propaganda and addictions and destruction of the corrupt systems, their rulers, and the upside down, backwards turning wheel, planetary thought form that have conned us all into creating and maintaining it. And just step outside of it. To free your linear mind of blind beliefs, learn to think clearly and use your mind as a sacred tool, not the dictator. To honor and know the sacred, altered states of consciousness and perception and utilize them. To honor your physicalness, it is sacred. Take care of your body and to not consume things that are not our human species specific nourishment. To honor our body, mind, feelings, emotions, and spirit, and utilize them together as one sacred unit whose energy flows and expresses freely through all these vibrations. To live in and by sacred unconditional love and sacred unconditional acceptance. To feel the beautiful immensity of it as it flows from and permeates all things in the universe, because it was the firstborn and it's sacred. To know and feel and love that love is our natural state. To know and feel we are connected to all existence. We're never isolated or separated. Our connectedness is sacred. To experience, learn, and utilize your many spirit senses, all of which must be felt and experienced in order for them to be unfolding, teaching, fruitful, ever improving, and understood. It is not an act of the linear mind. To know and feel that all things are of love, alive, sovereign, individual, unique pieces of Creator. To honor, feel, and know that we human beings are creators. To remember what is sacred and honor it. Now, for the details, let's go to the first one. To know yourself, your song, and all of its multidimensional wholeness and its sacredness. This is kind of hard to separate from the second one, which is know the sacred feeling of your song. So I guess I'd have to talk about the two of them together. Your song is what my teachers, the Hedicas, the Peruvian tribe, this is the word that they use to describe themselves in totality, their whole spirit, their beingness, their emotions, their mind, their physicality, the whole spiritual essence, their auric field, everything, their totality. They called their song, and that's a poetic reference, and which is so Hedica. It's just, they're extremely poetic kind of people. Their language is extremely poetic, very metaphorical. There's called, they call themselves storytellers. So your song, it's like music. It's like magic, like poetry, like the sounds of symphonies harmonizing, and the dance of it all, the beauty of our song. And they say it's sacred, it's divine. We are a divine piece, a unique individual piece of creator. And when you think about that, if you let yourself feel that, that just says, that feeling, it's so much more than a picture like a photograph. It's millions of words, volumes and volumes of possible words. The feeling of your song that's your identity. That's your real identity. That's who you are. Who you really are, who you really have been. Ancients say we've been alive, we've been existing. Our song has been in existence for eternity, for so long, ancient. And we are vast. Your song is just huge, vast. And in this ancientness and this vastness, we've been in many different kinds of incarnations and lifetimes and experiences, many of them on this planet Earth, as people, as plants, as animals, as rocks, as a mountain, as the air, as the water, all kinds of different things. And there's no hierarchy to it. You pick what you want as your next life. If you want to be a water spirit being and be that water, a certain body of water, then that's your next life. You arrange that however they do on that plane of existence to be a water spirit, or the mountain spirit, or the wind spirit, or another human, or to be an animal, or plant, or even a rock, or the dirt, or a big piece of land. It's endless. And of course, out in the universe, we have a big universe. I think there was some movie there where this guy called it a big ass universe. Well, yeah, it is. It goes on and on and on. It's got all kinds of stuff in it, and lots of planets, and lots of stars, and lots of galaxies, and lots of nebulas, and lots of things we don't have names for yet, and all kinds of energy fields, and it just goes on and on. And we can be part of those things. You could be a star if you want to, or be a gang of different spirits who want to be a star together as a single star. And we've done all those things We've been around for so long. We've had so much time to go so many different places and be so many different things. And this is who we are. This is what we are. We're a unique individual piece of creator, and being that unique piece of creator, we have creative abilities ourselves. We help create star systems and planets and nebulas and the earth and whatever's going on the earth. We're a big factor in the creation of what we see around us and what's been around us, what will be around us, and our everyday lives, our everyday simple lives. Our song, it is the creator and master of these things, and we live it out. We live out this experience, and of course that is shared with everybody else because we are so connected, so very, 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 very connected to everything. And in these connections, they're very talkative. They tell it all. Gossip City, they tell it all. So the whole universe knows about you and who you are and what you've been doing in this life, in other lifetimes. And being this incredible entity and so unique and individual, we have the feeling of our song is unique. There's nothing else in the universe like it. And we get to know ourselves by learning that feeling, by learning who we are, learning what that feeling is, how we are it, how we use it, how we have been it. When we were on Alpha Centauri, being some other race and doing things super differently than we do here, the entity that you were when you were out there on Alpha Centauri, that's your song. That's you. You did that. You are that. You retain that. You retain all the memories. But there's a unique feeling to that song. It's a very unique feeling. And that's why the Hedicas have this ceremony they call the song ceremony. They're simple people. Song ceremony. And they do it every chance they get, any excuse they have, time for a song ceremony. And what that is a meditation where you turn your attention into yourself and you feel your own state of being. And particularly when you're happy, something that's happy. And what my teachers told me, they said, remember a time in your life, this lifetime, when you felt really, really happy, having a lot of fun, or some kind of big excitement. Maybe you were on a roller coaster, and it was, such a huge thrill. Or maybe you're hiking around in the winter and you come across a plant that's stuck up out of the snow and is blooming, and it's so beautiful. And it's such a surprise. It takes your breath away, and you feel the plant, and it's just so, oh, that so happy, so beautiful, so much love. Feeling like that, or feeling like falling in love. Everybody's fallen in love. Even when we were a kid and we got a crush on somebody, and it was just, we were just so enamored with whoever the other one was. That feeling of being in love. That That is the feeling of your song. That feeling of the happy and the excitement and the beauty, the wonder, the awe, the love. That's who we are. That's what we feel like. That's what our beingness has always felt like. That feeling is our signature, our unique signature through the universe. That's how we're known through the universe, is the feeling, this feeling of your song. And so we turn our attention to that and focus on it more and more and more. And pretty soon you learn how to just tune into that feeling and be in a meditation full of that feeling, and you could just let it take you and show you about yourself and how you relate to the universe, teach you, show you in person how this universe works, how this massive connectedness works, how the whole field of that works. And that's what we do in a song ceremony. We are exploring ourselves and our song and the feeling of it and who we are now, who we always have been, what kind of lives we had before, and how do they relate to this life? Because they always do. They always do. A lot of times, a number of our lifetimes are kind of thought of as a group, as they're super connected in terms of their goals of what you want to accomplish in that particular lifetime or that group of lifetimes. And we learn so much more about what our purpose in this lifetime is and how it relates to the purpose of this other lifetime and that other lifetime, and how they have these similarities to them. And what you learn then informs you about what you're learning now. It enriches it. It enriches you. So that's the short talk about our multidimensional wholeness and the sacredness of our song. Obviously, we do things in multiple dimensions. We're in 3 dimensions here, but most people don't realize it until they've been in some kind of spiritual study for quite a while. There are parts of us that extend into other dimensions. And sometimes we have lifetimes in other dimensions. And we can investigate that and feel it and remember it and perceive what's there and how it relates to us and how it relates to our world, how it relates to your purpose. Having a purpose in life, knowing it, at least a really good idea of the neighborhood of what your purpose in life is all about. It makes all the difference in the world, in your whole life, and how you experience your life and how fulfilled you can become in this lifetime by understanding your purpose and understanding your own song. And you see why the Edicas use that word, because songs and songs that intermingle and go dance with each other, and they they become grand symphonies, and the harmonics of it, and the aliveness. That's the whole dance and movement of song. That word expresses our incredible aliveness and the aliveness of everything else around us. Everything's alive. Everything. And when you start to learn what your song is, and then what it feels like and how it's interacting, you feel the aliveness of these other songs. And everything has a song. Everything's alive. Everything has a song. It means it has consciousness. It has awareness. It has what we might refer to as emotions and mind and thinking. Although some of these things, like a rock, they think a little bit differently. They tend to have a sensibility about them that it usually is slow. They've been around in that form for a really long time. They know how to not get in a hurry about things, not rush. But you can feel it. You can learn about it. You could learn the secrets of the universe from a rock, from the dirt, from a tree, from the wind, from the water, from the stars, from the sky and the void, the big black void out there, which is not empty. It's super full and alive and conscious. So these are just some of the things that we start to feel and experience, and that gives us a true knowingness, and we can use our mind like a tool and let it help us explore these things, to feel them, to understand them, to, like the mind likes to do, it likes to put things in order and file them away, which it could be a very handy thing, very handy tool. So, what do you all have to say about that?
That's pretty deep stuff.
That's pretty deep. It gets deeper. This is the shallow end. I read you this part of the list. That's the shallow end of the pool. That's where we all start. We start in the baby pool.
I was referring to the description of song that you laid out.
That's heavy stuff.
That is beyond baby.
Yeah, but it was beautiful.
It was. It was.
Want me to start? Or you want to start?
You go ahead.
Jump in.
Well, there's a part of me, when I first read The Reluctant Shaman, there was a part of me just remembered parts of the teachings. And I think for a lot of us that have started the teachings and are entrenched in the teachings, there's a part of us, our ancientness, that remembers them. And I would say that anybody that even just if they're just new to this and just feeling it inside your talk, pursue it more. I mean, you have the Reluctant Shaman and Sacred Link, and now the Weaving book. And the first class we take is the Call of Your Song, where you learn about song and you learn that you're so much more. I remember when I was doing the song ceremonies and I really realized, oh my gosh, I'm so awesome. That seems funny to say that, but when I started to remember stuff and started to feel that connection to everything, and can you imagine just living from just a little bit of that knowingness? So the teachings transform your consciousness. So you start to perceive things, you start to feel things that are always there, but we have just been cut off from it because of our society. And I mean, just the opportunity to get to know yourself. If you did nothing else but that, it can change your life, and help change humanity. So yeah, it's if there's a part of you that rings with this knowingness, you've either taught these teachings before, you've been seeped in them before, and it just follow that thread. Yeah, just soak it up, pour it over your head and bring it in because it can change your life. It changes how you perceive things. It changes how you live. Yeah, it gives you power because your attention, it just brings your attention to the here and now, and you can feel that bigger part of who you are. Oh yeah, just reel it in. That it changes your life. And I got that when I first read The Reluctant Shaman. There was just so much of it. It was like a remembrance. And I'm still remembering stuff. It's like, I remember how many times have I read that book? I was like, oh, I don't remember that the first time. I wasn't ready to remember it yet, that particular part of it. But as you get to know your song and you get to know these teachings and you start to live it, you just get more and more. And everything just starts fitting into place. Yeah. I do. I love this stuff. Thank you so much for sharing the teachings, Kay. It really has. If nobody else's life has changed mine huge. And I felt when I started reading your book and then now the teachings, that experiential and that knowingness and then living from that, it's so powerful. It brings back the power. Instead of just giving all of it away, you don't realize you're giving it away. Every single second you're not aware of who and what you are, you're giving it away to the masks and the programming. Yeah. What do you say, Laura Ketty?
Ditto. I'm like what she said. Laura just nailed it. Exactly. I'm not sure I have many more words after everything you said, Laura. That was so well put and exactly put. If you're called to this, because you and I were, we read the book, and it took me a while to say yes to it. As my husband reminds me, I chickened out, which is all good because I came back around. I tried other things. And that's why I love the name of the beginning studies, The Call of Your Song, because it's like I tried other things, to figure out, to find happy and to find what I was actually, and it felt like I was being called to something. And that was what was making me a little crazy. It was, that I was being called to something more and I wasn't finding it. And I was looking in all the wrong places. And so it was so I love what Lora says. If you're just feeling the inkling of this, it's probably you're being called to the more of you, called to your song. It's literally you calling out to yourself, that screaming, there's something more. You are more. There's more here in you. And that's your song, trying to sing out. And the Reluctant Shaman talks about it. But the beginning classes, the course, is literally the call of your song. And these studies, I will say again, because I've said it many times, if every human just goes through these studies, it's a 5-part course, that just teaches you the shallow end. And it's not really shallow, I tell you, because Katasi can be as deep of a dive as you want to take. But the call of your song is kind of getting your foot in the water, and it'll blow your mind at the same time. But it'll give you a taste of who you are and what you are and what you could possibly do in this lifetime and maybe have done in other lifetimes. And I tell you, just longer you do it, you'll end up like the four of us here, just giggly and happy and powerful in our own way. Really powerful in our own way. I love, Kay, that was a beautiful lecture. And Lora, thank you. Your comments were amazing.
I think before Katasi, my world was swimming in a little wading pool. And now that I have the teachings, it's like the universe is my swimming pool. It's huge. It's so much bigger than the world I was literally wading in. It's yeah, it opens up all of you. That's the best way I
And
can
the
put it.
fear is gone. You're like, it
Uh-huh.
doesn't feel like a deep end. It was like, okay, it was like, I remember the beginning, let me stick my toe in, I don't want to drown, let me, and now I'm like, deeper.
Bring it.
Where's the scuba gear? Let's go. I want to find the deepest end. I mean, you really, there was nothing ever to be afraid of. Nothing. That's the Muggle world. It gives us so many reasons to be afraid of the mystery, the mystics. But what you really are learning is you're just afraid of who you can become.
And who you really are.
And who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fall in love with yourself.
I try not to be arrogant about it. I just love myself.
I just love myself too. I don't want to be anybody else. Helmut.
I don't know what to add here, really. And I have a big echo again. Happy to be here. Extremely. And can't wait what's to come. One of the things why I'm working so hard to help Kay share these teachings is the times we are in. This world is ending. And the more people who find teachings like this, and what their life is about, as you guys described, the easier the transition into the new world will be. So, and I'm just totally excited being part of the ride. So that's my 2 cents. Do we leave it at that for today? Or anybody else? Something?
I don't want to. Oh, now I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah.
I'm having a wee tech thing.
I can't change anything.
If you are thinking about these kind of things, and when we do that, we tend to rely heavily on our blind beliefs and our masks and the programming. And if you just look at the surface of some of the words that have been spoken or the sentences, you might think that we're very narcissistic. we become like, the super attached to ourselves. And it's not the modern world common uh, over overindulgence in looking at yourself, thinking about yourself. You are the the do all to end all narcissist. It's not like that. It's we learn how to fall in love with ourselves, like the ladies say, and that is one of the most exquisite experiences that you can have. To finally love yourself, because in our modern culture, we're taught to not like ourselves, not love ourselves. Some people use the words kind of sound like um, they say you should be loving yourself, but they don't follow through with with any of their other words or actions. The truth of all the behaviors of the people around us and that we've known our whole culture, it teaches us how to dislike ourselves, distrust ourselves, to uh, believe that we can't accomplish much of anything, certainly anything really good or profound or anything like that. But in the teachings of Katasi and the teachings that they give us about song and your song, and it is love. It's made of love, and there's love coming from everything in the universe. Everything that's alive is just oozing love and harmonies of
And
love
it's
and harmony all the time, and that includes you. And I you, it's your totality, and that's again why Atticus choose that word to mean your don't like excluding emotion and the excluding mind. That's not the Heidegger way. The Heidegger's way is our totality, and we can be conscious of our totality, every bit of it, and as much as we want, and learn from that. And learning, there's a growth to that learning of who and what you are and what that love is, and that loving self, and that loving of yourself memories, the song memories of all those eons, all those different lifetimes, and this planet, that planet, and I'm just having a love affair personally with all these different places and things and beings that I have been, and what it was like to be that and interact with things around me in that way. And you learn things you never dreamt of. You learn so much from just learning your song, and it just keeps growing. You learn the feeling of it, and you take those beginning steps, and it just goes bigger and deeper forever. I love what you ladies said, and Helmut. Beautiful words.
Any more thoughts?
Just to remember that this is a way of life, a way of thinking, a way of feeling emotions, a way of feeling our spirit, a way of feeling everything, the connectedness, everything that you are is so much more than some doctrine or dogma. It's a way of life, a way of living. In the modern world today, we learn how to live with with all this programming that keeps us asleep, keeps us numbed out, fogged out, thinking the thoughts that people told us to think. Somewhere along the line, we've just been told who we are, what we are, how to think, what to do, how to live your life, what you're supposed to be in your employment, and etc. When we talk about waking up, that means getting rid of that programming. And the programming is what Hannika's called masks. They're very metaphorical, very poetic. And they used to just use this gesture, uh, putting a hand over their face and talking about our masks. Mask is leading you around by the nose in a very literal way. And you break out of that. You learn how to think completely free, completely on your own from things that you experience. You learn not to take beliefs on blindly, to get rid of all your old blind beliefs because they're not accurate. They're not accurate. They're not true. Probably a lot of them were purposeful lies when they were told to you. We don't want to believe that at first. We don't even want to hear it because it's a painful thing to think about. I remember this one lady I just adore. She's a great student, and she had this wake up aha in class, and she started crying. She hardly talk at first, but she realized she'd been living a lie, and not just a lie, but millions, everything that she was never taught, all her brainwashing, that programming, that the Hedikas call our masks, that it's all a lie, it's false, it's fake, it keeps us in a fog, keeps us in that sleep. And she just realized it in a really big way. She felt it all the way through. And she was kind of in a shock from this feeling and awareness of it. She couldn't do anything for a number of days. just all this stuff coming up in her mind, rattling around, things that she always thought were. This is, and this is true, and this is the way things are. And yeah, and she saw, no, it's just, that's all fake. That concept of living the lie can hit you. Yeah. You kind of knocks you over sometimes. Yeah.
But sooner or later, you get to that point. You have to.
Yeah. Some people seem to get to it in pieces. They realize that this piece of programming in my life, that's all lies. And then they come to terms with that, and that they're over the shock of that, and working with that, and then they realize that there's another piece of their life that, oh, that's not real either. And that was all lies and corruption. And it's just, whoa. And they got to work with that and get used to that. And everybody has their own speed and their own way of doing it. And that first aha might be a shock, and you might feel a bit betrayed. But we've realized that our whole culture is that way. Our parents were asleep and programmed. And of course, they're just going to teach their kids what they learned, because that's all they know. They don't even know they're asleep.
It's really just a small milestone. It's not even that huge when you get there.
It depends on
The real big journey of waking up starts after that.
Yep. Because once you have the programming out of your way, the boulders are gone out of the path. Now you got this free space ahead of you to just follow it and explore in any direction. All these different things that you perceived, that you know now, that you have knowingness of because you experienced them, like your song. It's the road is open, and that is the waking up. That is you just keep waking up more and more and more and more, and the road never stops. I would say a fair number of us have a feeling of disturbance, having they really realize the truth of how much they have been lied to. And this lie has been going on for millennia. And now you're free of the baggage of that. So there's a very sweet spot, but it's got a bit of an owie because you got to realize that your past is not what you thought it was. The earth, the experience here on earth is not everything that you used to think it is. It's a whole lot more and a whole lot more beautiful. So exquisite. And so much love, giving and sharing and receiving. Can't have giving without receiving. And that's what the universe does with its connections. It's giving and receiving, and just on and on and on and on. And you can feel it. You can follow every thread if you want. Every little piece of knowledge or information that's going here or coming there, and what it's doing and how it affects people and worlds and the universe. We affect a lot more than just us. And we affect the people around us and our family. We affect the entire human population, humanity, the total human consciousness. We affect it in a big way. And we can change the direction of the masses and what they're thinking, what they're believing, what kind of direction they're aiming in. We are incredibly powerful, incredibly. And we're even more powerful when we know it and we collect together and we have a purpose. And that's what brings about a brand new world and a brand new you.
Let me try this another way. Yeah, it works.
Ah,
There it is.
There it is.
The Weavings, Dawn of a New World. The link is below in the description.
it's
And
the
the-
Heidegger's teachings and the ancient pre-flood Egyptians' teachings about the world to come and how to make it, things that we need to do for ourselves and for everyone else. And this is a ceremony. The weavings are a ceremony about healing the earth, building a brand new world through healing the earth.
And the bullet points, those points that you talked about, start on page 4. So you get them
Oh, they're on,
right away.
they're on 4. Oh, the book I pulled up must be
Oh.
one of our
Oh,
early
no, I
ones.
could be
This
wrong.
page- this-
4 or
let's see,
5.
5.
Oh, 5. You
Mine
are
says
right.
5.
They start on page
Okay.
5.
I thought, oh no, I grabbed the proofer book.
No. I know you got it right. Start on page 5 through 7.
Beautiful. Are we all good for the day?
Yes.
And pick
And if
it
you
up
get the
from next
book,
talk?
though, the book club. We
Oh,
do.
right.
Yeah, we have a book club that's open to the public. I believe there's information about joining the book club on the website.
And
So-
that's the book they're doing right now.
That's the book we're doing right now. And it's very juicy. We don't get very far. We are on page 4. And so if you're interested in joining the book club, go to the katasi.com website and you can sign up to join the book club, and it's free and open to the public. And it's very, very juicy conversations. Led by our other Lora.
Yay.
And we're just the beginning, so you haven't missed much.
You won't miss much in a week because we're going really slow. Or next week or next month. Trust me, you can catch up.
And it's so wonderful to go through it with a community. That's really wonderful.
If you need help with any of this, get in touch with Lora Kitty, or myself. Laura Philbrook gets a break because she does so much other stuff. All right. We're good? It's beautiful. Thanks so much for joining us live. For those watching us later, I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like, comment, share, ask questions. Have at it. And come back next time. Okay. Love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.